Welcome back to Reds Fusion LFC, your ultimate home for all things Liverpool. Today we've got a jam-packed update straight from Anfield buzz Konaté's big decision after the Palace nightmare Eze's shock claim about the best right-footed player. Liverpool let go for just $8 million, Klopp spotting a major risk that exposed Arne Slot, the hidden Ryan Gravenberch successor, already in the squad. And Jamie Carragher's 3 tips to help Florian Wirtz overcome a tough start stick around. Reds fans, this one's going to be a roller coaster. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay updated with every twist and turn in the transfer window. Liverpool lineups for Galatasaray as Eberechi Konate, decision made after Palace nightmare. Liverpool are in Istanbul to take on Galatasaray in the Champions League on Tuesday night, but how should they line up? Liverpool would have been desperate to get back to action after the misery of Saturday's defeat to Crystal Palace. But a trip to face Galatasaray in Istanbul surely won't have been top of their wish list for their next fixture. The Reds are in Turkey, seeking to make it 2 wins from 2 in the Champions League this season following the late win over Atletico Madrid on the competition's opening night. And Arne Slot has plenty of selection posers to consider ahead of the contest. What will he decide to do, though? Our writers have given him some friendly advice ahead of the contest. Ian Doyle, the Champions League, the biggest club competition in the world. But at this stage of the season, not even the second biggest game of the week for Liverpool. What then is Reds boss Arne Slot to do against Galatasaray in Istanbul this evening? There will be changes. And there should be too. Not in goal, though. That's Alisson Becker. It was tempting to bring in Joe Gomez at center back, but he had a nightmare up against Victor Osimhen a few years ago, and that risk can't be taken again. So Ibrahima Konate remains alongside skipper Virgil van Dijk. I'd stick with Connor Bradley at right back, but Andy Robertson should come in at left back. In midfield, Alexis Mac Allister still isn't right, so he can be benched in place of Dominik Szoboszlai, who can join Ryan Gravenberch at the base of the midfield. Florian Wirtz is the number 10. Up front, Hugo Ekitike returns as the central striker with Cody Gakpo coming back in on the left and Mohamed Salah staying on the right. My team, 4-2-3-1. Alisson, Bradley, Konate, Van Dijk, Robertson, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, Salah, Wirtz, Gakpo, Ekitike, Paul Gorstit. Will be interesting to see what Arne Slot does at fullback this evening. I suspect he might keep one and replace one from Saturday's defeat at Crystal Palace, with Connor Bradley keeping his place and Milos Kerkez making way for Andy Robertson. In midfield, I think Slot might keep Dominik Szoboszlai in the team and move Alexis Mac Allister to the substitutes bench to accommodate Florian Wirtz back into the most advanced role. Cody Gakpo comes in on the left-hand side once more up top. Hugo Ekitike can start in place of Alexander Isak, with the Sweden international still building up his fitness. It wasn't the plan to play nearly the full 90 minutes at Crystal Palace. My team, 4-2-3-1, Alisson, Bradley, Konate, Van Dijk, Robertson, Szoboszlai, Gravenberch, Salah, Wirtz, Gakpo. Ekitike Theo Squires Liverpool will be looking to bounce back quickly against Galatasaray after their stoppage time loss to Crystal Palace, and they could really do with an improved defensive display at the very least. Eberechi Eze says Liverpool sold the best right-footed player he's ever seen for just $8 million. Arsenal's Eberechi Eze has now made a bold claim about former Liverpool fullback Trent Alexander-Arnold. In the summer, Trent Alexander-Arnold decided to make an emotional farewell to Liverpool in order to start a new challenge with Real Madrid. Alexander-Arnold's contract was set to expire at Anfield, and the England international decided that he wanted to join the likes of Jude Bellingham in Spain. Of course, Liverpool somewhat replaced Alexander-Arnold with Jeremy Frimpong, a right-back who enjoyed a lot of success under Xabi Alonso at Bayer Leverkusen. And whilst the Dutchman has had to contend with an early injury at his new club, Frimpong has also endured a slow start at Liverpool. Eberechi Eze comments on Trent Alexander-Arnold's wonderful right foot. That being said, new Arsenal midfielder Eberechi Eze has now pointed out what Liverpool have been missing since Alexander-Arnold's departure. In an interview with Stadium Astro, Eze was asked to build his perfect footballer, and as part of that build, Eze chose the best left-footed and right-footed players he could think of. For his left foot, Eze chose Lionel Messi, but on the right, Eze immediately thought of Alexander-Arnold, who often made the difference at Anfield with his illustrious passing, even as a fullback. Clearly, some adjustment time will be needed before Liverpool can get the best out of new signing Frimpong, who is an entirely different player to Alexander-Arnold. Fortunately for Arne Slot, Connor Bradley is on hand to provide a fairly well-rounded option whenever needed, and he'll also be looking to prove that he can be Liverpool's permanent starter. Earlier this year, TBR Football revealed that Liverpool were concerned about Bradley's injury record, and Slot's side will hope that the Northern Ireland international now steers clear of any issues. Alexander-Arnold will soon return to Anfield with Real Madrid, although Real Madrid could have waited to sign Alexander-Arnold on a free transfer. They parted with $8.4 million to ensure that he was signed up and ready for the Club World Cup. In terms of how Alexander-Arnold has started for his new club, it's been very disrupted. The 26-year-old suffered a groin complaint that curtailed his efforts at the Club World Cup, and whilst he was beginning to get to grips with life in La Liga, Alexander-Arnold suffered a hamstring injury that is still currently keeping him on the sidelines. Of course, Liverpool will play against Real Madrid in the Champions League at the beginning of November, and as expected, there has already been a lot of talk about Alexander-Arnold's return to Anfield, providing he is fit for the occasion. Jurgen Klopp spots Liverpool risk that exposed. Arne Slot versus Crystal Palace. Jurgen Klopp has been speaking about the new Liverpool style of play under Arne Slot and questioned whether the Merseysiders are taking a risk. By being too offensive, Jurgen Klopp has raised questions about whether Liverpool are now too attack-minded under Arne Slot. The former Reds manager suggests that they may need to adopt a more cautious approach in future. Klopp, 58, departed Liverpool in the summer of 2024 after an incredibly successful 9-year tenure at Anfield. He oversaw 491 matches and secured 7 major trophies, including the Premier League and Champions League. Slot took over from Klopp last season, and the former Feyenoord man exceeded expectations in his first season on Merseyside, clinching the top-flight title and finishing with a 10-point lead. While Liverpool have begun their title defense robustly, winning 5 of their first 6 matches, performances have not been as convincing as the results suggest. Indeed, the Reds had to rely on late goals to secure victories against Bournemouth, Newcastle United, Arsenal, and Burnley, before narrowly edging past Everton in a closely contested Merseyside derby. Liverpool then suffered their first defeat of the season against Crystal Palace, who netted a last-minute winner to triumph 2-1 on Saturday. In reality, the Eagles were the superior side at Selhurst Park. At times, Liverpool have appeared somewhat too vulnerable, and Klopp highlighted this issue in an interview with The Athletic. He said, "Liverpool is playing a specific style, so really good. Very offensive-oriented. Do they take the risk of being exposed a little bit? Different ways to go, let me say it like that." Jamie Carragher pointed out that Liverpool's tactics were far too attacking after their opening weekend victory over Bournemouth, criticizing the defensive work that led to Antoine Semenyo's second strike. The Cherries striker was permitted to charge at least 70 yards before tucking the ball into the corner. "It is unbelievable," Carragher told Sky Sports. "It's fantastic from Semenyo, but Liverpool have had this problem. How many players were ahead of the ball, maybe 8 players, when they were winning 2-1? That can't happen. It's absolutely shocking at this level. For Semenyo to run that far and get his shot away is incredible. But where is Ibrahima Konate going? He had a really poor night tonight at center-back." Liverpool already have Ryan Gravenberch's successor after Arne Slot transfer decision. Liverpool have enjoyed some incredibly consistent performances from Ryan Gravenberch in midfield under Arne Slot, but the club have already got one eye on the future. Ryan Gravenberch has been one of the best performers for Liverpool since Arne Slot took over, so the club aren't in a rush to replace the midfielder. But the Reds have already put a plan in place for that eventuality in the form of academy graduate James McConnell. During a frantic end to the summer transfer window, which saw Alexander Isak arrive and a move for Mark Guehi collapse, you'd have been forgiven for missing McConnell's exit at Liverpool. The 21-year-old midfielder left Merseyside for Ajax on a season-long loan on August 29th after signing a new 5-year contract. McConnell is extremely well regarded at Liverpool, who he joined from Sunderland in 2019. Jurgen Klopp handed him his debut against Toulouse in the Europa League in October 2023, and his best moment in a red shirt came away against PSV in the Champions League in January last season. That performance attracted the interest of rival clubs, but the decision was taken to keep him at the club in the January window, and he now has 13 first-team appearances in total. The Athletic reported that West Brom, Oxford, Hull, Ipswich, and Sturm Graz all courted his services this summer before Liverpool chose to send him to Ajax. The decision was taken due to the high level and European football, but also the presence of John Heitinga, who left his role as a coach under Slot at Liverpool to take over as Ajax manager this summer. McConnell therefore became something of a replacement for ex-Liverpool captain Jordan Henderson, who left Amsterdam for Brentford. It's been a slow start for McConnell with Ajax, with injuries limiting him to just 2 appearances so far. But the Newcastle-born midfielder is still benefiting from the move. Speaking to Voteball International, he explained how he has studied Gravenberch, who learnt his game at Ajax and is now blossoming with Liverpool. "Because I used to play more attacking, I have different qualities than other number 6s, he said. "One of my qualities, for example, is that I can charge forward with the ball and break through the lines that way." Gravenberch is the best at that. He's incredible. Years of training and playing under Jurgen Klopp and Arne Slot gave me the opportunity to really work on the defensive side. So I paid a lot of attention to Gravenberch last year, because he's actually the type of number 6 I aspire to be. He's fantastic at breaking through the lines with his runs, which is also a strength of mine. He's also gone from a number 8 to a number 6, just like me. In that respect, he's an inspiration to me, so to speak. Playing with him, seeing up close how he claims the ball, how brave he is, and how much he's improved his defensive work, is also something to learn from. Liverpool have resisted the urge to sign a holding midfielder in recent transfer windows due to Gravenberch's emergence. But with McConnell expected to return from his loan next summer, he could be groomed as the Dutchman's understudy and potentially an eventual successor by Slot. Jamie Carragher names 3 things that would help Florian Wirtz combat difficult Liverpool start. The German international has struggled to adapt to the speed and intensity of the Premier League and has not managed a goal or assist since the Community Shield in August. Jamie Carragher believes Florian Wirtz's slow start at Liverpool is not all his fault and has backed the player to improve once he gets fully up to speed with the physical demands of the English game. Wirtz joined Liverpool in the summer for a fee of up to 116 million, 156 Bromirs, a figure that was the Reds' record signing until Alexander Isak's arrival from Newcastle United at the end of the window. Unsurprisingly, with such a significant transfer fee, his early performances have been heavily scrutinized, and Wirtz has not immediately adapted to his new surroundings. No goals or assists from 7 league and European matches underlines that. But Carragher feels the problem is Wirtz's lack of touches compared to his time at Bayer Leverkusen. The ex-defender highlighted a stat that Liverpool's number 7 is averaging 64 touches per 90 this season, compared to 92 and 87 in the previous 2 campaigns. "I think we should be analyzing someone who's cost that money. He's coming as a renowned star. Bundesliga Player of the Year 2 seasons running. Won the Bundesliga, not with Bayern Munich, with Bayer Leverkusen, a seasoned international with Germany," Carragher opined on Sky Sports Monday Night Football. "I think it's fair to say he hasn't been great for Liverpool so far, but also I don't think Liverpool have been great to him so far. Obviously, they've got to come together and try and make it work as best as they possibly can. It's faster. People are on top of him more, it's more physical," he added on the Premier League. "And he's just a young boy. He is trying to get to the demands of the league." There's no doubt about that. Carragher also claimed that another of Liverpool's slow starters may have had an impact on Wirtz. "I think another problem for Liverpool and for Wirtz is that Alexis Mac Allister hasn't been at his best. I think he's the guy who could feed him and get him the ball between the lines. McAllister is yet to play 90 minutes for Liverpool this season and has struggled to get up to speed after a disjointed summer. The Argentinian missed the last 2 matches of 2024-25 season due to a hip injury and 2 international fixtures in June. As a result, he began pre-season later than his Liverpool teammates. We need to build him after having such a poor pre-season. He missed out 2 or 3 months in the first few weeks of preseason, Slot said last week when asked about the midfielder's fitness levels.